Okay, so we are in Woolton Village, and today is going to be a pretty hot day apparently. It's nice and warm now. You might have noticed that the guy who cuts the grass has missed a bit. Probably on purpose. Now, if you don't know, my family moved to Woolton in 1960, and sometimes things you do as a family don't seem weird. It becomes a routine, something that you just do, and I've never really thought about it as being weird until I decided to make this video. But once every 4 or 6 weeks or so, we used to come into Liverpool city centre for a haircut. I have no idea how many barbers we must have passed on the way into town. I'm going to guess that it was quite a few. But the barbers that we used to come and visit was on this street, Hanover Street. Hanover Street has changed beyond recognition really in my lifetime. But this video isn't really about Hanover Street. It's about another building that Liverpool has lost. And I'm going to suggest that maybe it could have been kept. In the first video of this short series, we looked at the Customs House. If you don't know where the Customs House was, I've marked it in a red circle for you. But in this video, we're going to look at a building which was directly behind it, the Sailors' Home. Unlike the Customs House, which was demolished before my lifetime, it was demolished in 1948. The Sailors' Home is a little bit different because it was demolished in 1974. This illustration is a view down Hanover Street, and it shows the Sailors' Home in its situation. It was probably drawn between 1850 and before 1900. Now, we're not quite at the spot where the illustration was made, but we're not too far away. Up until its demolition in 1974, the Sailors' Home would have been visible at the end of the road on the right hand side. Liverpool Sailors' Home opened in December 1850. The home was designed to provide a safe, inexpensive lodging for sailors, and also to offer educational and recreational opportunities in contrast to the temptations on offer in the Docklands area. That means drink and women, or possibly drink and men. Liverpool-based architect John Cunningham was involved with the Liverpool Sailors' Home project from the institution's inception, having been appointed architect of the building in 1844, even before the land for the building had been secured. Cunningham, who was originally from Scotland, had already designed Edge Hill Station, Lime Street Station and the Philharmonic Hall. Let's have a look at what this neo-Elizabethan Tudor-style building looked like. This then is the building in question, and this photograph shows it quite well in all its glory. 3 tiers of ornamental cast iron pilasters with an intermediate range of galleries, filled with ornamental cast iron work depicting nautical themed characters of the purpose of the building, thereby forming 6 floors for dormitories capable of accommodating on each floor 44 cabins. The building wasn't without problems. The heating system wasn't finished on time for the opening, and even when it was finished, it was said to be not fit for purpose. Now, most sources say that the building opened in 1850, although some say it opened in 1852, partly because the heating system wasn't working and it delayed the opening. I don't know if that's true or not. But in 1860, the building was damaged by a very disastrous fire. The damage caused meant that the Sailors' Home was closed for 2 years. The decline of Liverpool docks meant that not as many seafarers were using the Sailors' Home. It became an unviable project, and during the 1960s it probably came to a head. The building ceased to be a Sailors' Home in 1969, and it was demolished during 1974 and 1975. The site remained unused until they built Liverpool 1. The Liverpool 1 shopping complex opened in May 2008, and the site of the Sailors' Home now houses John Lewis's department store. John Lewis, I think, used to be George Henry Lee. Today, the Sailors' Home is marked by the ornamental gates which are on display. The entrance gates to the Sailors' Home were elaborate decorative pieces of ironwork which served the dual purpose of protecting the savings bank and keeping out seamen who might wish to gain entry to the home after the strict 10 p.m. curfew. The Sailors' Home for many years had a savings bank which the seafarers could save their money in. As part of the repair to war damage following the Liverpool Blitz, it was decided to remove the gates. On the 25th of March 1948, W.T. Avery, who had swallowed up Pooley and Sons, were offered the gates by the Sailors' Home Committee. The gates were put on display at Avery's museum in Birmingham, but because they weren't a local landmark, they weren't very popular in Birmingham, and so they were returned. In the summer of 2010, the gates went under a restoration project. It was felt that the gates would have been appreciated more in a Liverpool setting than they were in Birmingham. After restoration, the gates were returned to Liverpool on the 8th of August 2011 and were re-erected under the name the Sailors' Home Gateway in a pedestrian section of Paradise Street in Liverpool 1. We lost this building because it wasn't being used, and also because nobody could come up with an idea of what it could be used for. Liverpool in the 1970s was a very different place to Liverpool now. It certainly wasn't a tourist attraction back in those days. So maybe the idea of a Sailors' Home themed hotel or a Sailors' Home themed pub wouldn't have even been on the radar. I've heard arguments by people who say that the reason for its destruction was because of its interior. It was hard to imagine a different use because of the way the interior was laid out. It looks basically like a prison. I don't think this photograph does the Sailors' Home any justice. A lot of the buildings in Liverpool prior to the clean-up looked as dismal as this. I think the Sailors' Home would have cleaned up very nicely, and if someone would have had the foresight to have opened it as a hotel or as a bar, restaurant, I think it would have done very well. Anyway, it's one of the buildings that Liverpool has lost, and time moves on. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up soon. I'm off to get a haircut.